Africa's energy supply came under the spotlight at this week's African Utility Conference. The week-long conference brought industry players, government officials and the private sector together to brainstorm solutions for the continent's future energy needs.
The main issues that came out of the opening session of this Utility Week is issues of funding, as to how are the various utilities are going to source funding for capital projects in generation, transmission and distribution. The other issues has to do with meeting the challenges of the economic meltdown that is affecting a number of countries in the world. The other issue has to do with renewable energy. How are we going to bring in new technologies into the generation system, particularly renewable energies? The main issue that is really at the bottom of this is really what we refer to as universal access, particularly the access of electricity to the poor and the cost thereof.
Green energy and the need to create a post-carbon era were top on the agenda as the conference discussed the slowing global economy, climate change and the energy crisis.
Government, as it has committed itself to a target by 2013, I think that there are projects, visible activities on the ground that are suggesting that there is something that is being done vigorously. For instance, government has got a program, has got a policy, has got a target. So there is something happening.
The recent bout of load shedding is a familiar memory that many South Africans are eager to forget. But the government has ensured that their forward planning and investment into carbon neutral energy, alongside the additional capital injection into Eskom, will better prepare the utility for a situation where demand begins to outstrip supply. Energy ministers from across the continent discussed investment opportunities for public-private partnerships to help boost the energy supply to the continent's least electrified states. Zimbabwe has offered tax incentives as well as government willingness to partner with international investors.
We are actually encouraging private sector participation, where we have government partnering with private sector or completely independent investors coming in. Rather than just build power stations, they also should bring in new investment.
However, there are still challenges to reaching the critical mass with electricity. And in Zimbabwe, with an economy in tatters, the pivotal question is cost.
We are in a catch-22 situation where we are not using our currency, we have dollarized, which means we are using multi-currencies, the rand and the US dollar. In this aspect, it's not easy for Zimbabweans to pay for the electricity unless we start generating power.
As this year's conference aimed to plot a way forward for the continent's energy needs, it was clear that a two-pronged approach was needed to both solve the immediate energy shortage and to help mitigate a crisis in the long term.